Tim, can you guess which Darkwing Duck I played?
The one for the TurboGrafx 16.
Yes, it's not a very difficult guess to make, but that is correct.
I played that one as well just the other day.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Yeah.
This is episode 257 of Insert Credit, the only video game podcast where straying too long or too far from topic is punished by a horrible buzzer. I'm Alex Jaffe, and the day of the week I most associate with video games is Fridays, because that's typically when I'd get a new one as a kid after school, and then I'd have to wait through the entire Sabbath before I could play it.
Shoot. I'm Tim Rogers, and the day of the week I most associate with video games is Sunday, because we rented games on Fridays, and I played them sometimes on Fridays and played them sometimes on Saturdays. Though Sunday was always the day where you've got to return the game, and we would always return it real late at night. So Sunday would be all about waking up early to go to church, whereas Saturday, no, wake up early, right? Friday, come home from school. This is Sunday, you got to wake up early. You get home, and it's already earlier than it was when you woke up the previous day. So that was prime time for gaming. Just to play the video game until mom says, gotta return the game. Give me that game tape back. Get that game tape out of there. And also, there's just nothing says gaming quite like extreme sadness, right?
That's true.
I mean, we all love the weekend, don't we, folks?
Certainly.
Right? We love the weekend.
Everybody's working for.
Mm-hmm.
When the weekend is about to end, there's just absolute crushing sadness because, you got to go to school on Monday, and school sucks. I now haven't been to a school in over 20 years. School sucks, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. This is a tough one. I'm Brandon Sheffield, and I seem to vaguely recall there was a day when my mom... she got home a little later, I think, and so I could play video games for like 15 minutes longer because I only had like a 45-minute window because I would get off school at 3 or whatever time it was, but then I had to take a bus for an hour and a half to get home. So I would get between like a half hour and an hour to play games before she got home.
Oh, so that's why you ended up thinking the TurboGrafx was pretty good. That's a joke. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
But I can't remember what day that was. It might have been Wednesday. I don't know. But these days I associate Saturday, I think, because I have that problem of being slightly intimidated to start a new game because I gotta have like my 2 hours of onboarding available.
Every game's got that on-ramp, Jerry.
Yeah, and so like on a Saturday, I know that I can build the time in to play it and probably play a little bit tomorrow. Because if I do it on a Sunday, the possibility that I won't get to the game again until next week is strong, which means, I don't know, it's just a little extra mental barrier. Because, like, what if I forget what I was going to do or whatever? So, it's got to be Saturday. I don't have any of those religious affiliations, even legacy with the parents, so I never had to go to a church or any of those kinds of things. Or
church sucks.
Observe any what's-its. So, yeah, I just got to hang out and choose my video game time.
We got a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday. Filling in this week for Frank Zafaldi, after a 207-episode absence, is Polygon editor-in-chief and one of the 4 hosts of The Besties. Chris Plante is here.
The Besties.
I'm gonna brag, but it's the best video game podcast. This one's good. Like, if I wanted to name a podcast the second Besties, I would probably nominate this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that to every podcast that I'm on. I want you to know.
We pride ourselves on being a solid 7 out of 10 video game podcast.
You can be the best one. We call ourselves the only video game podcast, so we can be the only one and you can be the best one.
It's good. You're like Fresca, right? Where it's like there's nothing like you, and like people who like it, they love it. And I count myself as somebody who likes it. Both Fresca and your podcast.
Sure. Congratulations. The Besties is the one podcast more than any other podcast that I am asked if I listened to specific episodes of all the time. People
Really?
are like, did you listen to this part of this Besties podcast? Because I think you would like it. And it's like, I mean, absolutely no offense. I don't listen to any podcasts. I think that's something that all of us on this podcast have said way too many times, except Alex Jaffe. We've all said, I don't listen to podcasts, dude. It's like, we're too cool to listen to podcasts, quote unquote.
I do listen to the Besties so that I know what not to do.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God, Lord. That was pretty good. I mean, this is a live reaction from the entire cast of the Besties here. There they all are, just completely owned. Yeah.
I'll be real with you. I'm like shocked anybody recommends our show to you because just different vibes.
It's weird. I don't understand it either.
I like our show. Very different vibes.
I have no idea what your podcast even is. I just know it's called The Besties.
Well, it's just the best podcast. We actually don't do anything. There's no recording, no anything.
Oh, that's incredible.
We took the crown, and then we kept it.
That would be the best.
It sounds like what the kids want these days, right?
That's true.
So what's your favorite day of the week for playing video games?
And this is cheating, but I would say like the school day. Because we would go over to my friend's house in the morning to get on the bus, and then you got off the bus at the same place, right?
Uh-huh.
And that was the house where they had a basement, like a classic Midwest basement, where it was like a liminal zone, right? Like you were only allowed in that space if you were under the age of 14.
Oh, yeah.
And
we had one of those.
It just somehow refilled with Pepsi. And yeah, and that's where we played, I mean, everything from like General Chaos to Mortal Kombat on Genesis all the way up to like the GoldenEye Smash Brothers era. And it was just, a bloodbath, right? We would do that. And then if we got tired of that, we'd go outside and pretend to rollerblade. And then somebody would like break a bone, and then we wouldn't be allowed to do anything outside for a few more months, and just repeat over and over again. And now kind of the same thing, because school day became the work day, and working in video games, and that's all I do.
All you do is play video games.
All you do is play video games, right? There's nothing else. So
24/7.
You play video games, you tighten up the graphics on level 3, that's all.
You gotta tighten up those graphics.
That's the whole thing.
Well, I'm very happy to say that between the four of us, we have the entire week covered.
Yeah, we did it.
That's true.
Incredible.
Congratulations. Here's my first question for you. This one is a choose your own adventure. You're going to have two options for what the topic's going to be. You'll decide amongst yourselves which direction you want to take it.
Left.
Here we go. Players have been flocking back to Cyberpunk 2077 thanks to the popularity of its Netflix anime series, to find that most of the bugs have been resolved since they last put it down.
Yes.
For the next 6 minutes, we can discuss either of these topics. A, how can game companies draw attention back to their titles after a botched release? Or B, what other video games can be saved by anime?
Well, can we talk about A for a second? Because I have a grand conspiracy theory that I've been like dying to get past people.
Let's hear it, Jerry.
My theory is that botching the game upon release is now part of the marketing cycle. And that is not to say that like a developer goes out and like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not make a good game. But like, I fully expect, this is so conspiracy theory and it's like not true at all. I'm saying that as I say it. But I expect Starfield to come out and it's going to be like, part of the marketing cycle is them saying, hey, in 2 years, we're going to have the comeback story. Because every AAA game has to have the comeback story now. So I think there's like almost a chillness or an expectation of this. So it's like, I think every game is going to be a variation of Cyberpunk.
I find it patently ridiculous to believe that people are releasing bad games on purpose.
No.
But I know that's not exactly what you're saying, but I've seen people saying that. I have seen people saying on the internet that such and such game is like bad on purpose just so it can be redeemed. I think what you're saying is more in line with the developers now have the safety net of the possible redemption arc to decrease the pressure as they reach as they get toward the launch. They're like, okay, it's looking inevitable that this thing's going to launch kind of messed up. Let's start working on spinning the redemption angle. I would sort of believe that there's probably a spin department, a technical spin director now on every video game to try to best engineer a redemption arc in terms of cold hard video game mechanics and bug fixes and such. I would believe that.
I think the evidence to what you're saying of like nobody would intentionally like they're like day one, we're gonna build a calendar, because the bad side is the Anthem scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that proves for a fact nobody goes into it planning for this.
Oh yeah. because they weren't able to. They were just not able to fix that, right?
They couldn't pull out. No, it was like they were trying to do a
it.
stunt maneuver and hit ground. I just wonder if now marketing teams, I guess maybe there's a weird way of putting it, is like are almost more chill, or they're like, hey, where we would have put too much heat on you in the past, now it's like, yeah, you can ship the game and we'll figure this out.
Because I think that's still kind of dangerous.
An extreme version of we'll fix it in post.
I think it's a plan B personally, because I think they want it to be perfect when it comes out and all that stuff, but they now do have this kind of redemption arc as a marketing beat it's a possibility potential in there, but I also think that only hotly anticipated AAA games can do this, because otherwise you're just you can't get those eyeballs back once you lost them if you're an indie
AAA
type.
Games that are not exactly as hotly anticipated as others don't seem to ever be afforded the same luxury. Like, I don't think Anthem was. So Anthem isn't just bugs. Anthem was just a bad, incomplete, like woefully incomplete video game. Whereas, I mean, there's games that were never allowed into the discussion of games with redemption arcs, like Assassin's Creed Unity had some bad bugs on its launch, and they were all fixed with remarkable quickness, and that game is really good, and it is a really good Assassin's Creed game, and it has just like murderously gorgeous graphics if you're playing it on a modern PC. An incredible looking video game that also has some really good structure and pacing. It's a very good Assassin's Creed game. Very different from the one with the pirate ship, the Black Flag that had come right before it. Very, very different from the Egypt, Greece, Viking trilogy that they started making of their larger RPG style video games. It is the last traditional Assassin's Creed game that was made. Now Ubisoft is entering into some sort of redemption arc for the people who don't like the big sprawling RPG games. They're now they're touting this next one they're making as a more traditional Assassin's Creed game, and people are like, yeah, it's been too long, and they're referencing Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed 3 or whatever when they talk about their hype for it. And it's like, Assassin's Creed Unity is just never allowed to be talked about anymore, because anytime I mention it in a stream, I say, oh, I like Assassin's Creed Unity, this reminds me of a thing in Assassin's Creed Unity. Somebody's like, oh, that game sucks, dude. There's the glitch with the face where you see the guy's teeth and the eyeballs, and it's like, man, they fixed that. They fixed that before I ever saw it, and I played it pretty close to the launch. So that's a shame.
There's an interesting side thing to this, like with the glitch stuff. I know you hate glitch videos and things, Tim, but like,
I just think it's low, that's all. I think it's okay for a man to admit when something is beneath him, you know? Yeah. As long as we don't do it all the time.
With Starfield and Friends, they just announced...
Starfield and Friends?
Yes. They just announced that they're going to have 250,000 more words or whatever. It's just like this huge, bizarre...
250,000 more words, each of them as dry as an entire extra large beach towel.
Yeah.
Is that how they phrased it?
Someone was complaining about it, but I was realizing that there's kind of like, there's a bit of a redemption thing for any of this kind of nonsense in AAA, because if you think about how many words that is, and how many NPCs and branches and weird things that represents, you know there's going to be some nonsense.
Oh, is it okay for me to add one thing, just because I want to clarify?
Sure, we can one-up this one for you.
All right, but watch yourself.
Okay, I promise. I want to clarify so I don't sound a full evil conspiracy theorist. I think, Brendan, what you're getting at better says what I was trying to say, which is that as all games and big AAA games kind of become like living games, there's almost no endpoint anyway. So
that's true.
Yeah.
For a game to like come out, it's like they just have to decide, like, well, I guess this is how much of the game is here now.
Yeah.
And who knows what that looks like. So that's like, I guess that's why I say every game has a redemption built into it, because there's going to be so much more no matter what.
Yeah. They're building the sandwich while you're eating it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, to cap this all off, Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question 2. How do you make finding treasure in a video game feel significant and avoid the feeling that you're just collecting trash?
Ooh.
Treasure? Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
That's true.
I suppose.
It's brave.
Trash is only for men, is what we've learned.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that means.
I mean, here's answer number 1. Put it behind a waterfall.
Of course.
That's one way. No, but a way to make treasure feel significant and more like trash, even if it is trash, is to put it somewhere interesting, like somewhere where as a player you might be like, I wonder if there's something over here. And then there is. Then you're like, heck yeah, I got this piece of crumpled up paper, even though I don't care about it. And then another thing to do is make it narratively significant in just any way. Like, say Harry from Silent Hill 2 finally has to reach into a toilet and get something out of there. You know, like, I don't know, just like make it character specific or interesting to them, like make Kiryu from Yakuza collect a bunch of different necklace medallions or something stupid. Like, I think you can also, it just, I don't know, if the character's into it, I think the absolute not easiest, it's actually the hardest way. Never mind. I'm going to switch it around. The hardest way, but perhaps best, which is also featured in Yakuza, is to make the rest of the game good enough that you just want to do everything. So, like, yeah, I'm going to pick up all these locker keys off the ground just because it's more reason to look around Kamurocho and get up on top of the roofs and use the first-person camera, even though every time I go to one of those lockers, I'm like, I'm never using any of this garbage, and I have to, like, do my inventory management to make sure I have enough slots and send it away to the box. I never use any items in that game. Like, anyway, that's what I have to say. Okay, goodbye.
So make the game good is what you're saying?
Yeah, just make it real good.
Make a game Brandon likes.
Make a game that I like, and then you can do whatever you want.
I gotta say that's a bit of a cop-out answer, though that's okay. It makes sense.
I mean, I gave you some other answers first.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm just kidding. There's I think one way to make getting treasure in video games is pretty good. Is have any of y'all played Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
Oh yeah, Thomas Brader.
They have a lot of really neat little optional dungeons with optional puzzles where there's not even any combat, and you're just kind of
sure do like those,
navigating a big weird puzzle solvey room, and there's some treasures at the end, and it lets you change the way your character, you just get different outfits or whatever. All of those puzzles are really good, nicely designed puzzles.
The one time that I realized, okay, maybe I should get a gaming PC is I really wanted to play the first Tomb Raider in that Tomb Raider Redux series there.
Oh yeah.
And only on PC can you turn off the camera shake and the camera motion while moving, which makes me incredibly nauseous because I have a big TV.
What if I told you there's a lot of other stuff you don't even know you can configure on a PC.
It just made me think about that. Anyway,
you would be immediately intoxicated with power if you launched any one of your favorite games and realized the cornucopia of stuff you could tweak and change. You'd be having a real good time in a few minutes. Those Tomb Raider games are host to a bevy of little tweakables, and I'm gonna admit them performing as well as they do on PC is largely the reason I ended up playing so much of all of them, and also they were on sale on Steam for like $1.
I really like those games. I think they're very good, especially the
very
Shadow
good, well-made games. Yeah, really weird that they just sold the IPs. They sold Deus Ex and Avengers and whatever. What else? Tomb Raider and Hitman. No, they didn't own Hitman anymore. They sold Gex for what, like a handful of pogs or whatever it was, right?
Beans.
Lord, what a disaster.
Yeah.
Those Tomb Raider games are good.
But hey, on the bright side, they're going to make more blockchain investments with that money. So
yeah, it's actually interesting to see that.
Well, that's how you make it treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you make a treasure. That's
put it on
we're
blockchain.
Put the NFTs in there.
See, the reason I didn't bring up the blockchain for how to make treasure feel like you're not collecting trash is I just didn't want any more Twitter DMs about blockchain stuff. Somebody offered me. I'm going to say the number. I'm going to say the number out loud. Okay. Mm-hmm. Somebody offered me $100,000 to do an advertisement for their NFT thing in my video, in my most recent video. and it was completely unrelated to my video. And I said, "Is that $100,000
In real money?
in USD or in NFT?" And he said, "Oh, it's USD." And I was like, "That's interesting."
That's a lot of dollars.
That's if you believe in your NFT thing, why not offer me $100,000 in that? Right?
I mean, isn't that how you make? Oh,
Sorry, Chris.
no, it's okay. It's okay. It was really good. It was the answer of how to create treasure in general, but nobody will ever know it. So,
Well,
Damn.
I just want to congratulate everyone on getting through that entire topic without mentioning any games developed by Treasure.
I was holding myself back, but I knew Tim was going to yell at me if I did it, so I didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Here's our third question. Imagine that Valve announces the Orange Box 2,
Okay.
porting 3 PC exclusive games to consoles. Not
imagining.
necessarily developed by Valve, but we'll say they're at least available on Steam. What would you select to put on the disc?
Portal 1 RTX,
Yeah.
which they would probably be there.
They'd probably put Half-Life Alyx on there, right? I mean,
Oh,
that's what they
yeah,
got.
a non-VR version of Half-Life Alyx.
Mhm.
Well, that's a good idea.
So they would,
Somehow.
the version that there's still people out there clamoring for it. I want to play it.
Me too.
It's the only Half-Life thing I haven't played. I don't want to put something on my face.
And then Half-Life 3.
Half-Life 3 would be
Of
the other
course.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I think we
God,
did it.
Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 is going to be so good.
It's going to be great. It's coming out any second now.
My great joke would be Cyberpunk 2077,
Yeah.
because that's a PC game that is just not really a game on the consoles.
You know what would be funny to do would be like put in the, what is it called? Like Quantum Conundrum. And then,
Oh, yeah.
and then like, I don't know, Counter-Strike. You know, like put things that
Counter-Strike
are,
Global Offensive.
yeah, things that are just like
Team Fortress
adjacent
1?
to Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, no, because it's got to be like the thing that's like Team Fortress and that was made by people that worked on it, but it isn't Team Fortress, whatever, if that sort of thing exists.
could you go the other direction and also put like Back for Blood on there?
Yeah.
Oh, that
yeah,
would be very funny.
Exactly. Back for Blood would be good. You could also put on,
But that already is on console.
it is, but it's not on the orange box.
Well, no, I thought the thing was that the Orange Box was celebrated for being the, capital T, the
Oh, that's
console
right.
port of
That's
all
right.
of those games.
I forgot.
The reason you're having trouble coming up with any, marquee PC games off the top of your head is there really haven't been a whole lot of PC games in the past. There haven't been a whole lot of PC games that console players envy. There's you got your Crusader Kings, your Crusader Kings 3, all your mouse, your point and clicky video games, right?
Yeah,
any
German
game
stuff.
any game, any Euro game that requires, gargoyling over a computer monitor with a mouse and keyboard. There's those games, but Half-Life, Portal, games like that, those are games envied by the console gamers of the time. Why can't we have this game, right? And it's brought on the Valve's big old Santa Claus sleigh. They brought it in with the Orange Box. So it's there's very few of those games now because consoles have, and I'm going to get beat up by hardcore PC gamers next time I go to Micro Center for this. Though it's console games kind of won, right?
Yeah.
Consoles are the king as far as video games go. Because if you click on any tweet by Microsoft, the first reply is PlayStation better. If you click on any tweet by Sony, the first reply is Xbox better. Nobody in any of those replies ever even mentions or dares to say PC better.
Well,
because
no, but
those
that's because
people don't.
PC won, right? Because PC gets all of it.
It's the silent winner, though. It's the
Sure.
silent winner. I'm calling myself a PC guy. I guess I am. Did spend a lot of money on this goddamn thing. I've always been a PC guy in spirit, and recently I'm a PC guy in money as well. So, if anybody listening to this has a line on an Asus ROG Strix 4090, please let me know. I'm trying to get one. I genuinely need one. My viewers deserve the highest fidelity visuals. That sounds like a joke. It's not. I really do need one. Last year, 2 years ago, God, the years start coming, etc. 2 years ago, I said something similar on this show, and I wound up 2 days later with the 3090 that I was able to purchase at retail. If you're out there, Mr. Brown, and you have a 4090, a line on a 4090, please, I will buy it to you from retail price and thank you endlessly in all my videos forever. What was I saying? We won. We in the PC gaming community, we won, right? But what we get, what you get as a PC gamer is you get the better version of a console game. You get the luxury of not having to choose the console game, the console for a multi-platform game. You're not going to choose Xbox or PlayStation for Assassin's Creed. You're going to just get the PC version, right? So that's all you get. And if it doesn't come out on console, chances are it's either going to not come out on, it doesn't exist on PC, or it just kind of sucks, or it's part of this enormous slush pile of lovable indie games. Yeah.
Like Perfect Tides. That game rules. Came out this year, and it's not anywhere, but most games. I think that's not on Switch. My guess is because it's an adventure game, and it probably would take a little bit of extra work to decide how they want to port it.
The games that rule, like capital R rule on PC, that are new and fresh and hot, stuff like Hollow Knight, is going to get championed on a console later, right? And chances are, and this is the hard part, it is a full-time job being a PC gamer who knows about stuff like Hollow Knight before it comes out on Nintendo Switch. Like, it is legit a full-time job to be monitoring Steam and figuring out which of these top 20 best-selling games that you're just shocked and appalled to find you've never heard of, which of these games are actually rule, right? I got really lucky. Oh man. Anyway, I can talk about this for a long time. The answer is it's too difficult to answer. Not enough information is what I would write on the math test here.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Question 4. How would you quantify an experience point?
An experience point?
Like in life?
In life? Yeah.
That's one way to take it.
So as a child, I first encountered experience points in the electronic role-playing games of Japan. Right, you all know these.
Yeah,
right. You ever heard of these ones? Right. You've heard of these ones, and those were all inspired directly by Dungeons and Dragons, which I never played. Because of there was an epidemic of anti-socialism in my particular life. I didn't hang out with nobody, so I didn't know about those games. So those games really did an elegant thing with experience points, which is that they just give them to you when you kill a monster, and there's monsters everywhere, right? And then when I later started playing some Western RPGs like Baldur's Gate, it's like, oh, you found the key, 20 experience points for you, traveler, right? And it's like, what? Why am I getting experience points for picking something up? And then I thought that kind of rewired my brain, and I kind of wondered why there's not more like that. I was just playing Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, the other day. I was smoking
the one Zelda that I should play, as we all know. I'm going to get to it.
Is that the one everybody says you should play?
It is.
You really should play Link Between Worlds on the Nintendo 3DS. Is the one I keep telling you to play because it's the most Sega Zelda game ever made.
I guess I'll get it.
That's my opinion. But as we know, Brandon doesn't listen to me. He listens to the people. He listens to the people who tell him not to listen to me. I know the score. So you would like Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Brandon, because it's so contrary and weird, and it very much feels like a PC Engine Zelda game. Actually, ironically, PC Engine games, it kind of follows logically. The PC Engine games are just Zelda 2-like games. It's like it must have inspired all of those because it was first. In 1980, 87, 80, 86, 87. Anyway, in that you get experience points from some monsters, but not others. And if you get hit, you lose experience points? Mind-blowing. It's so weird. Only Zelda with a level up system where you kill monsters to get experience. And it has to be the weirdest possible game about it. Long before Shigeru Miyamoto got up on his soapbox about making games grandma would understand, making games that my wife will enjoy, or whatever it is he started saying. Before that, he was a weird goblin like anybody who worked on any PC Engine game.
Yeah. Super High Glide gives you experience points for every monster that you kill, but also there's good monsters and bad monsters, and the only way to know that is if they attack you independently. And if you kill good monsters, then you
lose experience,
can't get the good ending, and all kinds of weird stuff happens. But I was gonna say that in
my world, we just call good monsters animals. By the way.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. In Demon School, we actually don't have experience points. You study things in school to level up.
Ooh.
There is nary an experience point to be found, and I was expecting people to be weird about it or push back about it. But nobody has noticed. We showed it at PAX and at TGS, and like hundreds of people have played it now, but nobody noticed that there wasn't experience points in there. And that's funny and weird.
I like
It
it.
rules, though.
Yeah, it's good.
Wishlist Demon School on Steam today.
Yeah, heck yeah. But what is an experience point? It's an indicator of something increasing, whether that be your dexterity or your carrying capacity. I like the idea of picking up a key and you get 20 experience points because
Yeah, I love that stuff.
it's like that was an experience. Like picking up a key is doing something. You maybe you learned a little something about where the key goes. The little text that comes along with it is something that you intuit.
I'll tell you something that in real life that feels like experience points. Getting a selfie with Hideo Kojima at like a party and posting it on Instagram and getting 5,000 likes or whatever.
That feels like a level up type of thing, though, right?
Okay,
that feels really big.
Well, no,
like an experience point to me is like the smallest possible measurement of human growth.
Yeah, a single experience point.
Yeah, what is an experience point?
An experience point. So, okay, in some video games, you know how they will curve the experience down. Like an enemy that gives you 10 experience points on level 1 will only give you 1 experience point on level 10, right? I'm doing like Paper Mario arithmetic here. What's like when I cook my eggs in the morning and I flip them correctly, you know, and they're good, that's like I'm getting the 1 experience point because I've done it thousands of times, right? And it's like maybe I would have gotten 100 experience points for that in my early 20s, but now I'm getting like 1 experience point. And because you know, anytime you look at something like any kind of rote, memorized, any kind of hygiene task, anything mundane that you do, you look at it, and anytime you take any pride whatsoever in it. I just brushed my teeth without my toothbrush telling me I was pressing too hard. First of all, toothbrushes that talk to you. No, please, I would say. I absolute no.
Thank you
to that. Though I do have a toothbrush that talks to me. It blinks a little purple light. You know, so you get through the whole 2-minute toothbrushing, and I feel like I did the coverage correctly because it's every 20 seconds it beeps, and you change it to another side. I go, heck yeah, that's an experience point. Oh, that's a little too loud. You know that kind of feels like an experience point. Right?
I agree on the kind of egg flipping. Oh. Just to finish that up there is like, I think that really works because when you don't do it then for a month and then you come back, sometimes it's like, did I ever know how to do this? Like, because once it gets so in your head, ingrained, then it's like, wait, when I have to think about this, I can't do it. So I think it's, the getting the single experience, you need to keep getting that experience point or else.
The only thing in life that doesn't give you an experience point, definitively, this is the perfect definition of the perfect quantification of an experience point. The first time you do it, you level up, and then after that, you level up. It's an immediate level up the first time you do it, and then every subsequent time, 0 experience points. This is my riddle. What is that thing? I'm going to tell you. It's riding a bike, right? So it's a level up the first time you do it successfully, and then 0 every other time, such as it were.
I love it.
You love it. Wait, hold on. You know who else loves it?
I love it.
Yeah, there you go. That was our boy. Our boy loves it as well. That's our
next topic.
Our co-host, our mascot there.
I would like you to design a game based on a White House press conference.
I bet you would.
Oh, basically just, it's Samba de Amigo. It's got to use the Dreamcast Maracas controller, right?
You're the maracas holding monkey inside of the head of the press conference giver, and you have to shake the maracas to get them, like, if they're about to reveal the truth, you've got to shake them further away, or if they're about to make a faux pas or accidentally, like they're gonna call someone in the press pit dad. Or something like that. You gotta shake them away from there. So you keep them on the rhythm, of course, of their rhetoric, but then there are these disruptive ones that come in, which is like, you're about to say mom instead of Madam Speaker or something.
I feel like for me it would be more Elite Beat Agents, and that like you're taking something very mundane but making it seem like the most important thing in the world. Like, that's a lot of these press conferences because, like, I mean, when we see press conferences, it's usually because it's something important when we have to care. But a lot of the press conferences are like, it's International Egg Day.
Yeah.
Like, let's celebrate the eggs. But they have to, it's the White House saying it, so it's, like, big stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, something about the choreography of that game also just feels very performative.
Actually, that makes me think I would really like... I mean, why does it have to always be boring? Why can't they do their press conference as interpretive dance and stuff? And so, like...
Oh, like Starlight Express?
Yeah, so we get them actually dancing around and doing stuff, and they're, like, performing Xanadu roller skate numbers while they're... and like, we could be in the future where dance is the highest form of entertainment, and so, like, the press conference giver has to dance convincingly and appropriately and dazzlingly enough, and each subsequent press conference about Egg Day or whatever has to be better than the last, because you got to keep the public engaged, or else your presidency fails.
It's basically Space Channel 5, mostly.
Yeah.
Except here's what I think: there's absolutely no way that the White House press secretary in this video game should be speaking English, because it should be like Charlie Brown language.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, everyone playing is going to fall asleep.
That's true.
And it's more fun for it to just be nonsense words, because sometimes that's all it really is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting to me is that all of you so far are coming at this from the perspective of being the press secretary, whereas there's a whole option of being the press,
being a journalist. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to be a bunch of people, or you have to be one specific journalist,
or it could be an asynchronous multiplayer sort of situation, or a
Well, there was that IGF game that I really liked that was only playable there, and I don't remember what it was called. I think they might have showed it a couple of other places, but everybody had a laser pointer, and you were like collectively trying to like shepherd these other things around the screen. You were trying to get like this blob over into this blob, but then there would be little thingies that would attack you, and so you'd have to like some people would have to go off and attack those other things, and it was played by 100 people simultaneously with laser pointers on a screen, and that was pretty fun. And that's some sort of collective thing. So maybe if you're trying to like journalism down a coup or journalism up a coup or whatever, it could be something like that.
Being that journalist feels like the worst media job on the planet.
It does.
Yeah.
Like you just do conferences where you know you're going to get fed bullshit, and then like every week you have to write a pool report. That seems like...
Yeah.
I would almost say that the game should be about like whatever else you're doing that isn't your miserable job.
Actually, it would be interesting to do a game that's like you wake up in a different city, but the hotel room is nearly identical. You eat a nearly identical continental breakfast. You get your press pass. You go in there, and then the same thing happens. It'd be like Papers, Please, except it's like the papers are the papers that you are writing. It's newspapers, please.
Newspapers, please.
No, it would be called Papers, No Thank You.
Yeah. Papers, I don't think so.
Papers pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, papers.
All
pass.
right, I think we solved it. Let's take a quick break because I'm getting a little bit of a heat stroke under this blanket I'm recording under, and we'll be right back after we get drinks and whatever.
Hello, it's me, Brandon Sheffield. I got a little mid-segment here for you. We talked about PAX a little bit during this episode, and realized that there was a little segment from my PAX About Town sequence that I did that didn't make it into the final episode. It was when I was out there and I saw a bunch of people who were representing the Starbucks union, and I interviewed them, but it didn't make it into the episode. We had to put it in somewhere, I figured, because it was good and cool. So here it is. Now you can listen to it, and then after that you'll get back to your regular scheduled episode. Okay, bye. Bye forever. Yeah, you've heard that one.
Hello. We've got the Starbucks Workers Union. Is that what you're called?
Starbucks Workers United.
Yeah, Starbucks Workers United out here in front of PAX. You're going to hear this a little bit later. But I thought it'd be cool to talk to them about what's going on, what they're doing. You got a little intro for yourself. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a 9-year Starbucks worker and a union organizer.
Cool. So what are you out here doing? What do you want people to know about?
Yeah, we're out here letting people know about the union battle that we're having with Starbucks, asking for support, signing our no contract, no coffee pledge, and just getting the word out, really, connecting with customers and the greater community.
What are your pain points and difficulties right now? I see this union busting is disgusting going on over here.
Yeah, I mean, Starbucks is really throwing the entire union busting playbook at us right now. They're firing our organizers, they're closing our union stores, and they're refusing to bargain, essentially. They are making no meaningful efforts to bargain, and they're just trying to stall the contract fight out as long as they can, and eventually, convince the stores that have certified to decertify. So it's easier to say what they're not doing than what they are.
Yeah. This thing that we're signing, is that something that people can sign online as well, or is it in person only?
Yeah, if you look it up, No Contract, No Coffee, you can find it on our Starbucks Workers United website, or on most social medias as well.
Great. And are you also associated with the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America?
I'm not. I just really appreciate their support. They've been doing a really great job of showing up for our workers and helping our actions.
Got it. And if you sign up for this, you can find out where pro-union actions may be taking place and things like that?
Yep, absolutely. This signing up for the No Contract, No Coffee pledge will get us your contact information. So when there are actions taking place in your area, like strikes or other actions that we might call for, you'll get a text or an email, whatever your preferred communication method is. So you'll be the first person to know what's going on with our campaign.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I'll leave you there. Bye forever.
All right, welcome back to Insert Credit. It's time for us to go into the dirt bag. This is the part of every show where we take a question submitted by one of the patrons to patreon.com/insertcredit, where you can get access to the form, which allows you to submit these questions. You can get regular bonus episodes and other stuff that you'll just have to subscribe to find out what it is. Our question this week comes from MoxBagel, who, instead of asking his own question, has prompted us to return to a previous question we broached on the show.
Interesting.
Which is, what's the ideal video game to play over dinner?
We still don't have that.
Yeah.
No, still don't have a dinner. Okay, so I actually have. I've made new. I've broken new ground on the dinner video game question, because I've been tackling this as a thing. MoxBagel, a moderator on the Action Button Discord, discord.gg/Action Button, also known as the Goblin Bunker. Nice to hear from you, and good luck. He's bringing up this question. Perhaps knowing that I might have something to report on it, so here's my new ground that I've broken. I played the Last of Us remake. Does anybody know about this game?
I heard about it. Yeah,
you hear about this? Yeah, it's
Part 1.
Somehow The Last of Us Part 1. Yeah, somehow became a hot button issue in video games. Much as the developers must have planned. How soon is too soon to remake a game? Game was 9 years old. Game looks real good. I've played the original Last of Us several times several times very recently, because I did a video about it, and I watched my only friend Mimsy play all the way through it, and she had a very good time. So I've got very recent experience with The Last of Us, the original remastered, on the exact same TV that I played Last of Us Part 1 on. Game looks beautiful. The graphical upgrades are undeniable when you're actually looking at them. That's not what I want to talk about, though. The game has accessible from the pause menu. Okay, are you ready for this? Accessible from the pause menu, it has a skip puzzle option. Okay? Does anybody realize how big a deal this is? If you haven't played The Last of Us, you might not know that the puzzles tend to be find a ladder that is in some tall grass somewhere, and it's just kind of hard to see.
Move floating crate,
or turn a crank handle to get on the crate, and then push the little girl around on a crate, because she's the only one who can stand on the crate, and our big man is too big to pull himself up out of water, so all he can do is swim fully clothed in what looks to be fine modern Japanese workwear. It just swim across the just tumultuous tides and deliver this girl to a ledge where she will flip a switch. So all of the puzzles are pretty passive, right? There's now and they were made fun of at around the time the game came out. I know several critics said the puzzles suck. I am of the mind that the puzzles in The Last of Us are beautiful because that's where you hear a lot of very naturalistic conversation between the main characters. They will be talking about stuff, and then they will very naturalistically break off in mid-sentence to go, oh, can you get that thing over there? Or hey, can you flip that switch over there? Or like whatever, right? And it's very nice because it feels like you're playing a video game and you're also watching a TV show. So the skip puzzle option in the menu, you know what it does? It just warps you past the puzzle. It just gets you up to the trigger volume that you enter to get to the next thing. I don't like that. So as always, my quote-unquote good idea that would be a nightmare to implement by any AAA developer, of course, you know, that's their nightmare, not mine, is just play the puzzle. Right? Let me watch the people solve the puzzle.
Isn't that the I get it button you've been asking for?
It is the I get it button. Yeah, I've been asking for the I get it button now for 13 years. So I can tell you the exact date if you want. So I've been asking for the I get it button for a long time. And the thing about the I get it button in The Last of Us is the puzzles, none of them are like it's part of the game's mission statement toward the idea of naturalism. Naturalism is a very, very big component of all the game design, level design, narrative design of The Last of Us. Like owing to that mission of naturalism, all of the puzzles are I get it button already pressed before the puzzle starts. The puzzles are so simple. There's nothing to get 99% of the time. There's no brain twister in The Last of Us. So I'm like, just let me watch the puzzle, and then I go one further and I'm like, I want to just watch the combat as well, right? Mm-hmm. Just let me watch the combat. And then I'm like, what if I think, and I am predicting right now, and this is, I don't think I'm wrong, 10 years from now, every big budget, single player, AAA video game, as part of the growing, beautiful, tempestuous suite of accessibility features, every big budget AAA video game is going to have a autoplay combat option, and they're going to always involve several decisions. Like Kratos says to his boy, like, should we go in the back or the front? That big guy, you see that big guy there? Should I hit him with my axe, or do you want to try shooting him with your bow and arrow? Just a quick questionnaire at the beginning of every combat encounter, and then you watch. Maybe you fail, though usually you succeed. It's gonna happen. Don't pity the game designers who have to work on it.
My buddy working in he was working in Korea for a bunch of years. He was like, auto battle is gonna come to the West. Mm-hmm. Get ready. And then it did, but pretty much only in mobile. But then mobile started to bleed into PC and console with things like Genshin Impact and stuff. And so like auto combat is for sure coming. And I think
just strap a couple of choices on it.
Yeah.
Just load up a couple of little personality tests at the beginning, and then let me watch the AAA game. I mean, we know like there's $1 billion industry revolving around watching people play video games, right? Watching the game play itself, and then, you know, you'd even be watching a guy watch the game play itself. It's going to turn into that. This isn't unrealistic or ridiculous at all. AAA game designers, take note. I know we have a couple people at Naughty Dog listening to this show. Naughty Dog, you just do it, man. You're probably working on it already, because I know you're all very intelligent individuals over there. If you're not working on it already, sound the alarm, please. Because to be able to watch The Last of Us Part 2 over dinner instead of playing it, you know, that would probably be the ideal way for like me and my girlfriend to re-experience that game. You know, just saying.
I have another one of those, which is, I don't know if we mentioned this last time, but the deadly premonition driving sequences. If those could also auto, so that I can hear Jeff Kramer talk about whatever movie swear he likes. Get it? Let's do that one.
I like that.
When Rising Star gives me the license and I de-homophobicize the first Deadly Premonition and remake it, that's what I'm going to do.
Heck yeah.
Topic 7. Has a plot hole ever ruined a game's story for you?
Games don't have stories. So I like games that don't have stories, to be perfectly honest. I think I talked enough during the previous one. Let's let somebody else... I'll pass this one to somebody else.
I agree with that, in that I would have to care really deeply for a plot hole to throw me off, and I can count the number of video game stories on my hand that I feel like I've cared that much about.
Well, let's hear what's one of them.
Oh yeah.
What's one video game story you've really cared about?
Nier Automata would be like an example of like a recent thing, and that's like I don't even think what I like about that is the story or the plot, because
it's the vibe.
It's the vibe, right? So even there, it doesn't really make sense. And then if we get out of that, I mean, again, it's mostly vibes. Kentucky Route Zero is vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think more than plot hole, it's like if there's something that like a character was going along and being a certain way, and then it changes, and it's clearly like I hear the voice, like a didactic voice of the developer telling me something, like philosophizing to me specifically.
Yeah.
That I really don't like that, but that's not a plot hole.
Yeah.
That's a great example, because when the philosophy of the game contradicts itself.
Yeah.
I mean, Persona is like the classic example, right?
Totally.
Where you have this series that's entirely about empathy, and then you have homophobic or transphobic moments, and it's like, wait, what? Like, I thought the whole thing here was that we're like not shitheads. And that definitely pulls me out of those games. Yeah, I mean, so there's Persona, and then weirdly, it's the perpetual Call of Duty thing. I'm sorry, I'm just like really giving mainstream games here.
Oh, do it.
But loading screens in Call of Duty.
Oh, with the anti-war quotes?
Yeah, where it's like, I honestly, it would be better if we were all just honest with each other about what this thing is, but you trying to like have it both ways. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, Modern Warfare 1 is one of the few entertainment products in existence that almost got away with having it both ways.
Yeah. The Ludo narrative dissonance debate of like whatever 15 years ago or whatever it was. And then there was like the pushback to that where we got stuff like Spec Ops The Line where it's like, we're aware. Weirdly, that's worse for me.
Yeah, I do think it is worse, because it's like we made a pretty bad military game, but it has a pretty hacky message.
Yeah, and like I would have been more chill with it if it had just been like The Club.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's like, I don't know, you go around and shoot people. It's like Tony Hawk with guns.
You get
like, great. That sounds
wall
killer.
running and shooting dudes. I will say, okay, so as for ludonarrative dissonance is a can of cans of worms, right? But it's like in BioShock, I hate to bring up BioShock, because it's just not the it's you're about to not have fun when somebody brings up BioShock. So in BioShock,
I was hoping we wouldn't go there.
I was yanked very, very hard out of BioShock, quite famously to my viewership, readership, listenership, whatever, all the ships I've got. Everybody knows I was yanked very hard out of BioShock by the fact that I pressed a button to investigate a garbage can and immediately heard a loud, very wet, chewing, crunching sound as a pop-up informed me that my guy just ate a bag of potato chips and gained +5 health. And I had not yet been in a combat encounter in the game. And that yanked me out of the game. That's not what really yanked, but I kept getting yanked further and further out of the game. For example, the audio logs thing really yanked me out of the game. And I mean, I know it's not a traditional plot hole per se, but I'm sitting around. I have spent now nigh on 15 years. We talked about Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which came out around the same time as BioShock. So I've spent nigh on 15 years just kind of considering the person who is sitting at a tape recorder recording themselves talking about some of this trash, some of this stupid flavor text nonsense. But it's like they then left the recording device on the table, right? Yeah. And then
but that is a plot hole, right? Because the plot hole is, how could that have happened?
Yes, because then months later, the society crashed, right? Months later, the society fell apart and fell into ruin. That's a plot hole to me, that this tape recorder was just sitting on this table in this jazz piano bar or whatever.
This will get your brain ticking.
Yeah.
Who rewound it?
Yeah, who rewound it? One of the freakers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The tweakers, the twitchers.
To just the right spot.
Yeah, to just the right spot. Because it's like, one might say, it's possible that tape recorder was picked up by one of the weird sort of Republican hate fantasy drug zombies and relocated elsewhere on the premises. It's like, no, the person on the tape recorder is talking about enjoying. You can hear wonderful piano music, and they're looking out the window and enjoying the view and talking about this bar and how they're a lonely woman drinking champagne or whatever it is Ken Levine thinks is realistic. And surely enough, the tape recorder is sitting there right in front of a window and a piano and all of this stuff. It's like, it wasn't moved.
Can I give you a recommendation? I don't even know if this counts towards our time.
Well, let's hear it.
We're out of time.
Oh, let's keep going, though.
Have you all ever seen the movie Dead and Buried? It's like an 80s horror movie.
Heck yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I've seen Dead and Buried.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time the other night, and I didn't realize, like, so much of the Sander Cohen shtick is just completely ripping off Dead and Buried.
D&B.
It's wild. Also, that movie is great. I don't know if anybody's watching the Criterion Collection 80s horror thing.
I've been watching the Vampires collection.
Oh my gosh. It's also great. I'm finally going
I
to
just
see
started
Dark.
One Piece, so I don't have time for anything else.
Wait, can I finish my joke about BioShock, though?
Yes.
So then, famously, you get to the end of BioShock, and it is revealed that all along, the voice that has been guiding you, the narrator, is the bad guy, and he has been controlling your movements. In other words, the bad guy is you. You are the bad guy. You are controlling the main character, and you are the main character.
You rewound the tapes.
And why? You know why this is the biggest, worst plot hole in video game history? Why would I want to play BioShock, right?
That's right.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So that's a plot hole. That's
Very
a
good.
plot hole.
Please give me some sound effects.
Bingo!
One more thing I wanted to mention with this stuff is I've been playing, or I had been playing till my till my Game Pass trial ran out, Halo Infinite.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole series has forever, I've said this on here before, that like the less of that lore you give me in Halo, the better. Like, I just want to roll around and do Halo stuff. But they're all like, oh, but the ring, and then these guys, the unfettered, what are they called? The unsomething? Who are the unclean? The bad guys that kind of look like apes. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
the bad.
They have
bad
all
guy.
this stuff where they're like, when Jimberly relied upon Aragorn to fwa. I'm like, man, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I don't care about any of this
It
stuff.
sounds like you need to just smoke some weed and deal with it. Like, no offense. Like, that's what Halo's all about,
And
dude.
I do deal with those, but then when I also get audio logs, and those audio logs are like,
You can't do audio logs.
they're hidden in the middle of combat zones, and like, I'm shooting all these dudes, and I find this audio log, and then someone is like, I was thinking that for literally 2 minutes while I'm trying to shoot dudes. It's ridiculous.
Isn't there just a single button you can tap to turn that off, though? You just say, don't want to hear this.
It could be, but I'm in the middle
Yeah,
of...
I'm sure there is. Even in BioShock, there was.
I'm in the middle of being bad at Halo, so I'm like not really looking for that button, you know. I'm looking for the how to hide and not get shot button.
I always felt bad for turning off the audio logs in BioShock, so I never did. I just let them play to their completion and just fumed.
Well, I do feel guilty about doing it. So
I guarantee you, they're at the very least they're worse in BioShock than they could possibly be just on principle in Halo.
yes, no, it
So-
is true that they are worse in BioShock than they are.
Oh
in
my
Halo
god,
Infinite,
there's just
but,
like a guy being like, that pipe up there looks pretty weak. I think if it were frozen with an ice plasmid and then shot with a gun, it would shatter. Oh no, we should try to fix it. And then it's like there's just a pipe that just glows when you look at it.
yeah.
And so you shoot. It's like this. Why are there vending machines selling guns all around this place that's eventually going to fall into ruin?
Because it's a
Armed
Republican
insurrection.
paradise. It's a
Yeah.
Republican paradise. So of course there's
It's biting social commentary, Tim.
It's a Republican poet's paradise.
yeah, there we go.
And
And RPP.
just Google.
We've been
Google,
spending most of our lives living in a Republican poet's paradise.
Yeah. it's
Google Republican poets if you want to have a real
true.
good.
He just died.
Yeah, he
if you
sure
want to
did.
have a real good trip. Yeah, coolio.
I have another question for you.
Yeah.
This is part of our ongoing investigation and extrapolation vis-a-vis the question, the Citizen Kane of video games. We already solved that.
Yeah.
So today I'd like to ask you, what is the Avengers Endgame of video games?
What is a really popular video game that I have not and will never play? Have not played and will never
I mean,
play.
it's Fortnite, right? Like, it has to
Oh,
be.
yeah,
It's
it's
the coming
Fortnite.
together of
Ah.
everything.
And that's true on all vectors. So
Yeah.
that is very true. Yeah, I think we've already solved it.
Fortnite's just such a weird thing. It's just absorbed so much.
it's got everything.
It's like the figurative Katamari Damacy of video games.
And it's so pop culture that you kind of don't need to play it. It's just around.
Yeah.
It's also like, even if you haven't been paying attention, you're kind of like, sure.
Mhm.
It's got that bedrock of rock solid legacy 1990s early 3D engine shooting games in there, where it's like there's no way it's not a good game. It's just so aesthetically over the top repugnant that I'm not going to touch it.
And it's such a multiverse that you're like...
Yeah, it's got that evolving but very basic narrative that you can get invested in if you really, really care about it.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of hard to get on board if you're not like 7 or 9 or 8 or 12 or 11 or 10. Or you're like one of those low numbers.
Well, that's the whole problem now.
Yeah.
It's all millennials joining it, and now it's like not cool. We're going through the Facebook period.
I've seen a lot of millennials on the social medias. I try to stay away from those these days because it's brain poison. Though I've seen a lot of millennials lately expressing the opinion that Fortnite is actually pretty good, though. I've seen that. Have you seen this?
They're probably playing it with their kids too, and then they're like kind of taking over it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've mentioned before how I had the really hilarious moment where my brother was showing me that he had him and his son have
Boba Fett and the
Boba Fett, and then I'm like, what? They don't got the Mandalorian? And here he goes, no, I do. And then there's the Mandalorian, and then he's like, I can make him dance the Macarena. And then I'm like, I wish I was doing anything else. You know, it was. I felt this strange like wormhole back to age 13, where my
stuck in Sunday school kind of feel.
Where a guy I knew that put the Sega CD game Hook into his dad's stereo and plays it. It's like, you can hear the music, dude. It sounds exactly like the movie. And immediately the phrases that came to mind as a 13-year-old were number one, no, it doesn't. Number two, you know, I would rather be listening to, you know, anything else, not this. You know, it's like basically it's the modern day version of a kid putting the Sony ImageSoft's Hook, the official video game of the movie, for Sega CD's CD into a CD player.
I actually thought that game did use the official soundtrack. I thought that was one of the selling points of it.
No, it's a Red Book Audio. It's a kind of an electronified. I don't believe it's the exact music. I haven't played it as any more recently than about 6 months ago. Okay. Everybody get a Mister. I've got I got the entire Sega CD library on there, dude.
One thing I do want to say in favor of Fortnite is they've got really good character design.
No, that's not true. That's a good joke. Very good.
No, I really think like the way they adapt, not like their original characters.
Oh, you mean
but the way they adapt like the licensed characters? It's really interesting the way they translate them into that aesthetic.
I don't know if I agree that it's interesting.
I think the consistency is like a frightening achievement.
Yeah, they put
like
John Wick in there.
I can't believe humans are able to do it. It feels like a thing only like a super AI could figure out.
Yeah, and soon it will.
Because everything in it looks like it should. Like it looks like, oh yeah, that's One Piece or whatever.
It's been very Fortnite-ified,
they hit the DreamWorks button on it. It's just like they DreamWorksed it and put a little smirk on it.
I think it's a little more complicated.
Yeah, but it's not even like they had to Nintendo-roid it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Yes.
It's definitely more Nintendo-roided than DreamWorks-ified. Because I mean, I'm thinking like the John Wick when I first saw the John Wick character in there, and it's like, oh, he really does look like Keanu Reeves. He looks like John Wick. He looks like a Fortnite character. And then that's cool, right? That's cool. But a buddy of mine made a video game about John Wick. Remember this? This John Wick Hex strategy game. Very cool game. And I made a video about this video game when I was working at a website called Kotaku.com. Usually we made videos about tacos, but most of the time I made videos about. Sometimes I made videos about video games. Throw the gamers a bone. And all of the comments on this video were like, I wish there was a real John Wick video game. It's like, first of all, I don't know, this game's a pretty good video game. And what do you mean by a real John Wick video game? The philosophical discussion goes, they're like, oh, I wish it was a shooter. And then someone invariably goes, well, he's in Fortnite. And I'm like, I just felt my entire soul melting down. Because it's like, John Wick is in Fortnite, but man, kids, you can't think of that as a John Wick video game. Like, you can't. Don't let the dream of a John Wick video game. I can't believe I'm saying this. Don't let the dream of a John Wick video game die because he's in Fortnite. Also, don't ignore a game like John Wick Hex because John Wick is also in Fortnite, which is he actually shoots guns in there. It's like, it's like my brain was
Super
on fire.
Smash Brothers is not an Earthbound.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, so also, I just want to say for the record, I think I've watched all the Marvel movies. I do it as what I call research. I aspire to someday be a writer. This is like something I want to try someday, and I think it's worth it to understand what all the pop culture is. And I think anyone aspiring to be any kind of a writer, know thy enemy and such. Martin Scorsese. You watch Martin Scorsese and Marvel movies, and I actually thought Avengers Endgame was pretty neat.
Yeah,
it was a pretty neat way to really tie up 10 years of movies, and it had shockingly no references to any other future movies in it. Which is why the Marvel movie, the opinion now is that the Marvel movies are kind of they're kind of lost in a swamp because Avengers Endgame was just a hard stop. They slammed the brakes on the edge of a cliff. They're talking about the cliff for a couple of years now. So I actually thought Avengers Endgame was kind of a neat, a bit of marketing science. Would I recommend it as cinema? Oh, absolutely not. However, from a marketing scientist's the standpoint, if you're dual wielding marketing science and fiction writing, there is just no better pyramid of Giza of art to study than Avengers Endgame and everything that leads up to it. Having said that, though, is Fortnite the that of video games? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't think it's the that. But for the sake of this argument, I will concede.
Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Okay. That means it's time to go on to our lightning round. This week we're going back to one of our old favorites. This is a game called Name Design.
I feel like this is one of our old favorites every single time you say one of our old favorites.
Yeah.
Just saying, just throwing that out there. But let's do it though.
This is a game called Name Design, where I give you a title of something, and you have to tell me what kind of game that would be based on the title alone. This week, we're doing all songs by the band Panic at the Disco.
Don't know them.
I'm going to take a Panic at the Disco song, and you're going to tell me what a game by that title would be.
Just to be clear before we get started here, that's Panic ! And then at the Disco, right?
Currently, yes. I believe there was a period in their run where they removed the exclamation mark. So some of these songs might be from that period.
Okay.
So you'll have to imagine whether the exclamation mark is present or not.
I just want to warn you because I'm gonna freak out if we flop back and forth too much. I'm just kidding. Okay. I don't care. Just,
all right,
let's do it.
Our first game is I write sins, not tragedies.
Okay. Sins, not tragedies.
Sins, not tragedies.
How old was the person who wrote this song? Never mind, dude. Forget it.
Wait, I forget what we do in this. Are we designing a game around it, or are we?
Yes, you're designing a game based on the title.
Okay, because I was just gonna say Shin Megami Tensei, but now I'm gonna say something else.
Shin Megami Tensei 2, Innocent Sin.
Yeah, it's a game where you play as Shakespeare. And but Shakespeare is now trying to summon demons instead of the Shakespeare Collective has focused their efforts on demon summoning instead of on playwriting. I don't know what the mechanics of this are.
So when you say the collective, you mean Willie Shakes, but also like Chris Marlowe.
Yeah.
The rest, yeah.
Queen Elizabeth.
You gotta have a party.
So just to point out, the writers of that song were 20, 19, and 19. Just saying, just so you know.
Okay,
so
good to know.
That makes sense. That's why I assumed it was. I was going to say it sounds like teenagers wrote that, and I was kind of right.
You're mostly right.
Average age of 19.
By
point
average.
Point whatever 3.
All right, your next title is Impossible Year.
Impossible Year. Oh, well, that's just clearly one of those time loop games everybody loves.
Yeah, it's a time loop game for sure.
Yeah.
Except, a year is a bit much, whereas Deathloop, for example, is on a much tighter schedule. So a year is a bit much. So it has to be some sort of management. I'm saying it's a football management game. You're managing a soccer team. And
time loop.
it's impossible to win, and it's a time loop, yeah. And every time you lose, at the end, it starts over, and your guys are like, "What?"
And it's a leap year, but it's not supposed to be, and so that's why it's an impossible year.
And so all of your guys remember everything that they learned during the previous attempt at winning the championship, and they're like, "How do we have all these experiences? We've faced these guys before. Why is it January 3rd again?" Right?
Yeah,
and then
you can brand it so you can have like Manchester's impossible year and Sheffield's impossible year.
And then at the end, it's impossible to actually win, and you have to make the decision to crash the plane. And
Why?
and then they eat each other on the plane.
It's the only way to end the time loop.
We got to go on.
Okay.
The next one is Girls, Girls, Boys.
Okay.
But it's formatted like girls, /girls, /boys.
GGB.
Okay. It's clearly a some sort of a folder structure on Windows. So it's a game about file management. It's a game about cleaning up your server. Arranging things.
It's just Duck Duck Goose, I think.
Yeah, girl, girl, boy, girls, girls, boys.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the game in here yet. Chris, you got something?
I was gonna say I think it's like some sort of like romantic text adventure where there's one prom in town and there's 2 girls-only private schools and 1 boys-only private school, and now there's a massive competition.
2 girls for every boy, right?
That's right. Okay, I'll accept that. Next one is...
And a Beach Boys theme.
The piano knows something I don't know.
The piano knows something I don't know?
Isn't that the plot of the end of House?
No, it's the audio file that you pick up in BioShock with the lady.
The piano knows something I don't know.
Probably shouldn't check the piano then.
That's right.
The piano has an audio log about that's by a bunch of the Republican hate fantasy drug zombies, and they're going, "We're gonna kill everyone," and then it's like, "Let's start the revolution. I'm gonna put this in here. Hang on, you got some tape." And then, a bunch of gunshot sounds.
I sure hope nobody electrocutes this puddle while we all stand in it.
Yeah, then that's the piano. The piano knows something that you don't.
What if it's like a Typing of the Dead type of educational thing for piano?
I love it already.
And as you get things right, it reveals its story.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Mavis Piano teaches piano.
Yeah. Our next game is Let's Kill Tonight.
Okay.
Let's kill tonight.
Let's kill tonight.
Wait,
it's a Devolver game.
It's just Call of Duty, dude.
I was thinking it was like a Devolver type smash 'em up where there's like you play as a homicidal maniac and you just make blood pixels go everywhere.
It would be like at a disco and there'd be a gunfight.
Like there'd be a panic there?
There'd be panic.
Yeah. It would be a pixel art game. It'd be some Enter the Gungeon, but edgier and louder.
Yeah.
And slightly meaner spirited in the name of art.
Our next game is Death of a Bachelor.
Death of a Bachelor. All right. It's a game about going to college and not getting a job for like 20 some years. And just somehow not ever having a job, and then you get rich and then you get a disease and die.
I was thinking it would be about you gotta murder this guy before he gets married, because once he gets married he'll gain ultimate power.
It just sounds like a Hitman map, to be honest.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, it sounds like a great episode of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
It's like a murder mystery episode of The Bachelor where you have to figure out who was the woman who killed the Bachelor.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into it. It's a Bachelor murder mystery. It's a Bachelor Clue.
It's a Hitman-like game where you are trying to, you have like 1 hour, and you know that one of the Bachelor contestant women is going to kill the Bachelor, and you have to try to figure it out before it happens. And then
I like this.
If he dies, you have to start over. It's a time loop.
Yeah, time loop.
Like, then you gotta crush the plane.
I'm role-playing the average out-of-touch video game executive who's just now learning about the game Deathloop and Majora's Mask and assumes that they came out like within a few days ago each.
Our next game is Build God, Then We'll Talk.
Okay, this is the best Dreamcast game that never got made. Like, finally a sequel to Seaman that uses the microphone, where you first build a god. You can
Mhm.
design your own, and then it talks to you and is your best friend. And you can carry it around on your.
Yeah, I mean the easy insert credit answer is whatever Peter Molyneux game got canceled next in the 360 era is.
Wait. Do you think build God then will talk is whatever Molyneux says to a developer when he gives him an idea he doesn't care
Yeah,
about? He's like,
definitely.
you know what, build God then.
Yeah, that's right. That's his
Yes,
it's his
that's
directorial style.
Mhm.
All right. This next one I think is the most Tim Rogers of the group.
Oh yeah, let's
We'll
hear
see.
it.
This game is That Green Gentleman, Times Have Changed.
That Green Gentleman, times have changed. What is this band? What kind of music is this band? I've actually never heard them, to be honest.
Kind of like emo punk.
Oh, that's too
It's
bad.
kind of dance punk.
Yeah.
They
Well,
call
I mean,
it.
they do have the word disco in there. It's like a
Disco.
disco. It's like a disco, except everyone's scared of something
Yeah.
that just very recently happened. Is
Yeah.
that the idea of this music?
Mhm.
That's- everyone's terrified
Yeah,
of
that's pretty much
something
it.
that very recently happened, and
Yes.
that's the kind of music. Okay, That Green Gentleman. What? Wait, what?
That Green Gentleman, Times Have Changed.
That Green Gentleman, times have changed. Well, I mean, this is another God game. It's like a Doshin the Giant or a Black and White,
Yeah.
where
Mhm.
you instead of Doshin the Giant, the big yellow giant, it's like the Jolly Green Giant but off-brand, and he's wearing a suit, and he's just stomping around. And you're trying to develop your modern society that no longer has a need for a god. This is the sequel.
And it's a time loop.
Yeah, and it's of course there's a time loop. This is the sequel to. I mean, history repeats itself, so we're in a time loop already, Jerry. If you know what I mean.
The Green Gentleman is Earth.
Yeah, Earth is that green
Mm.
gentleman. Times have changed. So he's just
That
stomping
might be
around.
what the song is about. I don't know.
It could be.
So he's just stomping around, and the society is no longer the sort of, the stones and huts society seen in games like Doshin the Giant or Black and White. And it's instead modern metropolises that no longer have need for a Godzilla-sized creature. And you're just trying to, you don't want to kill him because you've got millennia of respect for this guy. You just want to try to deflect him away, tower defense style. You want to just kind of keep him away from stepping on your
All
stuff.
right.
Because he doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
The song could also be about weed.
Yeah.
That
That's
could
fun.
be about weed.
That's nine. It's the modern population's green gentleman of choice, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next one is the most Tim Rogers of the group.
Oh, uh-oh.
It's called Nails for Breakfast, Tax for Snacks.
Nails for breakfast, tax for snacks. Shoot, that's just some sort of Xbox 360, like Gears of War pretender. You know, like some sort of Unreal 3 game where somebody played Gears of War and was like, the chainsaw is cool. Let's make another game that has a very power tool based weapon. So your guy has a big nail gun, and your guy's name is like there's like Jack Carpenter or something, because the developers
Yeah.
really wanted to do some tribute to John Carpenter. And instead, their game is just so far off because it was so focus tested that all John Carpenter influences were burnished off, and it just looks like a Kmart Gears of War. And he's got a nail gun, and it's just got this. His partner is like a guy whose like initials are IRS, and he's like his name is like I don't know what's a good.
No, his name's Tax, and he gives you snacks.
Yeah.
So you can keep going, right?
Well, no, his initials are IRS, so that he's the tax man.
Ah.
Sure. Oh,
Right.
yeah,
So
thank
his
you.
initials are. I mean, what would his name be? Like Erwin Reynolds Smith or something? Like, I don't know. It's terrible. You're just going around and you're fighting off just really, really bland milk toast aliens.
An overfocus tested game would not have a name that is as interesting.
Well,
as-
no, in the early Xbox 360 era, they could have gotten away with some really stupid names.
I guess that's true.
They got away with some dumb names. Like, just none of them are coming to mind.
All right. This last one is the most Brandon Sheffield of the group.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, you better not. That's all I have to say about it. You better not, because I won't engage with it.
I mean, I feel like a really invasive mobile game that just keeps giving you updates.
Yeah, and it's like asking for your login information constantly and pop-ups to buy things and stuff.
You didn't notice that you gave it access to your contacts book.
Yeah.
And it's telling you that if you don't play the game, it's going to start texting your friends telling them, "Did you know Brandon's not playing our game?" And they're and then people
are call your mom.
I remember that.
And then people are going to tell you, "Why aren't you playing it, man? I want this thing to stop texting me." And the game is actually pretty good, is the irony here. Is the game is like the best mobile game ever made. And it just gets mad at you when you don't play it.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Oh, that's it. The end.
This is the point where if you want to give any plugs or recommendations to our audiences for ways to fill those empty hours in your lives between releases, now is the time. I say start watching One Piece and you never have to worry about that again.
I can't get through the first episode of one. I read a bunch of the manga.
That's my problem too. I just couldn't watch the show.
Yeah, I'm sure I would get used to it, but the main character is just so shrill.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, again, read a whole bunch of the manga and I know it's good. Okay. It's just, you know, my girlfriend has wanted to watch the show. She's like, we should watch One Piece. And then she's like, I watched the first episode of it 3 times, and of both the HD one and the original one. And she's fallen asleep like 4 minutes in every time. So that's why I haven't watched more of that show. But I mean, that seems cool. It's a cool story, Jerry.
Recommendations. First, I just want to share a little side story of a thing that was interesting to me. So I was playing Sonic 3 last year or the year before that, and I got to that part in like whatever it's called, Casino Night Zone or whatever the zone is in there. I think Casino Night is Sonic 2, but whatever. You know the one I'm talking about, the nighttime carnival zones, whatever. And you've got those barrels that you have to move up and down, and everybody gets confused about them, and I got confused about them, and I had to look it up, because if you're not familiar, it's this barrel that you stand on, and it introduces a new mechanic that is not explained, where you have to hold the down button and then hold the up button in order to move this thing back and forth. And like, there's a lot of... When you look it up on the internet, it's all people being like, what the heck, how do I do this? Because there's no good feedback on it, etc. Anyway, when I played it a couple of years ago, I was like, how is it that I could forget this? Like, this is so frustrating and stupid that I couldn't figure this out and I had to look it up. How would I not remember when I looked that up the first time? Or whatever happened the first time I played it, because you wouldn't have looked it up because of the internet not being as strong in those days. But anywho, I had a realization when I was looking at Sonic Jam differences between the Sonic Jam Sonic games and the Genesis originals. And this is where I had this revelation, because when I recently played it, I played it on the cartridge. And I guess that was actually the first time I'd played the cart, because I first played Sonic 3 on the Sonic Jam disc for Saturn. And they removed those barrels entirely from Sonic 3 on the Saturn. And so when I played Sonic 3 2 years ago and got confused by the barrels, it's because that was actually the first time I had encountered them. And that...
Interesting.
That kind of blew my mind because I first played it on Saturn. Super weird. Okay,
So
anyway.
you're talking about those up and down moving barrels in the carnival zone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stuck 100% hard roadblock on those first time I played Sonic 3.
Definitely.
And I was unable to get past because I didn't know you had to press up and down to make them go up and down.
Yeah.
They like bounce up and down. Very like monstrous roadblock, just a real kneecapper. Just kind of just stops you right there.
I time-outed on those like 2 lives in a row, trying to figure out what to do there.
You gotta press up and down.
Or trying to go around them or whatever. But it's not just press up and down, because you start doing it and it feels like it's moving, but you have to hold down for a long time and then hold up for a long time.
Yeah, it's incredibly bad. And I'll tell you what, so I got stuck at that first time I rented Sonic 3. And then I rented Sonic 3 again, just, to play it, to enjoy it again. And I got past those barrels. And then you're going to love the conclusion of this story. I then immediately beat the whole game.
Yeah.
I just breezed through the rest, which is weird because, the hardest parts of the game are after that. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like being stuck on those barrels for a period of weeks was enough to boost my brain into the stratosphere.
It's like sitting under the waterfall in the fighting movie montage,
Yeah, just visualizing. Yeah. Just visualizing the rest of the game.
So I got some more.
Some of the stuff laid in Sonic 3 sucks. You got to do that jump, dash, insta shield attack to hit the final boss. It's really finicky and way too strict.
It was definitely a portent of things to come, that's for sure.
Sega did not have a Shigeru Miyamoto around, for better or for worse, so that sucks. Miyamoto wouldn't have let that stand.
No, he wouldn't have. For better and for worse, I would say. Definitely both.
Yeah, Miyamoto would have been like, that's what? My wife wouldn't like that. Miyamoto did say once in an interview that,
classic wife,
that he thinks about his wife whenever he's designing video games. So he's like, would my wife like this? It's an interesting twist on the grandma, the go-to grandma, the straw man grandma.
Well, he's very old now, so she's definitely someone's grandma. Couple more recommendations here. So a long time ago, a few months ago, we talked about how, for all we know, maybe the original Austin Powers was actually funny.
Oh man! Wow, that's I definitely wasn't part of that discussion.
No. It was brought up casually by somebody else, and so I went back to check it out, and no, it's not. It's terrible.
Blows,
and I
dude. That movie
couldn't
blows.
finish watching it. It was awful. And then another thing.
It's up there with Robin Hood Men in Tights, in my opinion. One of those just very quickly pressed the no button within the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
So then also, speaking of the 90s, I had not watched any of the Bill and Ted movies because I presumed that they were stupid and I would not like them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so now I have watched all three of them, and can you guess what my recommendation is?
You like them?
Number 3.
It's
number 3.
No, it's don't watch any of them.
Wow.
But number 3 is, in my opinion, the best one because it's the only one where they do not scream the homophobic F word any times in the movie. But the first one does have a couple clever, like, cute moment things where they're like,
there's a couple little moments in there,
bringing these guys back through time and being like, oh, if we go in the future and do this for ourselves and then remind ourselves, then we'll have this thing right now.
Yeah, that's real fun.
And that part's okay.
Avengers Endgame hinges on one of those.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And then the third one is probably actually the best, but it's also...
Wait, which one? The second one?
The third one, I think, is actually the best.
You didn't say anything about the second one, which is good because...
Oh yeah, I said it was kind of whatever. Is what I said.
It's good. It's good to not say anything about the second one. The second one is just kind of there.
Actually, the second one has a good soundtrack. That's what I'll say. The second one has like a lot of very good original music from like Megadeth and man, who else? There were some really good songs in that one. But
I would say that the second one's title is the most accurate.
It is a bogus journey.
It is a bogus journey. Yeah, it's true.
So who would win in a fight between Bill and Ted, Wayne and Garth, and Beavis and Butthead? Stay tuned. We'll get to that later someday
for the next episode of Violence Island.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So those are my recommendations for now. Don't watch the Austin Powers movies. Don't watch Bill and Ted. And also,
you're just kind of telling people to watch like thousands of movies. Then. Is what you're doing by exclusion. Yeah. A diagnosis of exclusion from Dr. Sheffield here today. Is there any movie you've recently watched that you would recommend?
There is. Would you like to hear about it?
Yeah, put it out there.
Of course.
Okay.
I've probably seen it because I've seen... I'm just such a brilliantly cultured person, but...
You actually may well have seen this one.
The audience might appreciate.
I, on a whim, watched Mom and Dad Save the World, which it's like an 80s sci-fi adventure movie that I had never watched because of the title, because I thought it was going to be about like children and things. But
it's about the mom and dad, more like.
It's about a middle-aged couple going to space and meeting a bunch of like rubber suit monsters and hanging out in a bunch of sets, and the bad guy's John Lovitz. And it's pretty fun, and it's stupid, and it's like not that good, but it's great. If you know what I mean.
It's got that guy from Deadwood in it.
It certainly does.
I know this movie. I've seen this movie.
If you're the kind of person that is like, I wish I could watch another reasonable budget 80s, 90s sci-fi movie, but there aren't anymore, there's this one. You probably didn't watch it.
Here's a fun question. That is, I have my answer in my head for this.
Okay.
But why not pose this question? Because the fact that it is a question is interesting in itself. Me and my girlfriend are recently watching Stranger Things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I can now say unambiguously, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, it does a whole lot. It pulls real hard to try to get specifically me Well, a guy
Yeah.
who was a child in the Midwest in the 80s, who watched The Goonies and Stand By Me and all the John Carpenter movies and Mad Max and all of that stuff. It tries really hard
It does.
to get me to like it, that it really put me off in the first season, the first time I watched it. But watching it recently with my girlfriend, and she enjoyed it, and we both kind of thought, oh, it's kind of schlocky. But then by the end of season 2, beginning of season 3, it's like the more it lets itself just hang out and just turkey based its characters with the situations, the more fun it becomes. And I ended up just genuinely having a good time with it, more than any Marvel movie or whatever. Not that comparing stuff to Marvel movies is the gold standard. So anyway, the question is, my girlfriend has not seen a whole lot of 80s movies. Okay, you see where this is going?
Yeah.
And she was not aware of most of the references made in this show. She just there would be a stylistic reference and I would be sitting there, biting my tongue, as it were, to not say, oh, that's clearly a reference to this scene in this movie, right? I wouldn't be, I'm not that kind of guy to sit there and just explain the stuff during the show. But she has expressed an interest in watching some of these 80s movies. And in particular, it's come down to she wants to watch some John Carpenter movies. Okay. It is the month of October right now, so I'm leaning toward Halloween. So it's come down to, we're going to watch one of these movies probably tomorrow night. Should we watch Halloween or should we watch The Thing? If you have if you've seen almost no 80s movies, the answer is yes. I know the answer is yes, but if we have to choose one to watch tomorrow, which would you choose if you're trying to get a person who hasn't seen any 80s horror movies at all? Halloween or The Thing?
Yeah, my own self.
It's just an eternal question here. Everyone is welcome to answer.
My own self, I would say The Thing, because, and the reason I would do that is because I feel that it is more of, it's more generous as a movie. It's got more things to grab hold of.
Yeah.
If there's an aspect of Halloween that you don't like, you're pretty hosed. That's kind of it. Halloween has a lot of great stuff. It's got all those middle-aged women in high school kind of vibe deal going on, which I love. But it's got the whole stalkery thing and the weird graininess and grittiness. But The Thing has a whole mind adventure going.
Oh
so I would go for The Thing personally.
Yeah. So I said I was leaning toward Halloween, but only because it's October, the month of Halloween. But I'm also going for The Thing as well.
Chris Plant, what would you say?
The Thing is also 30 minutes longer than Halloween. I just want to point out. So that's one thing.
That is a tough one.
I agree that Halloween has the benefit of just 'tis the season, and also feels more in line with if you're trying to be hey, this is what Stranger Things is doing, right? Then I think it's pretty clearly Halloween. I don't think there's going to be a lot of overlap. I know there's all the weird not alien, but otherworld goo, but I don't know. The Thing feels like a very different thing.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have
Can I offer an alt?
Oh, let's hear the alt.
Prince of Darkness.
Oh, Prince of Darkness is Prince of Darkness is legit. That's on my reading list for right now for a project I'm working on.
Yeah, for me, that's some of the most fun John Carpenter.
Yeah.
The problem with introducing John Carpenter to somebody now and starting with the ones that everybody knows is it's kind of the John Carter of Mars dilemma.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm already so familiar with this that even though I've never seen it, I feel like I've seen it 100 times.
I love John Carter, dude. I love Disney's John Carter. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, please continue.
What if you went with Starman? It would be weird, but
Starman's a weird one.
Starman is I feel like there are a lot of visual I mean, okay, I only watched the first season of Stranger Things because I felt like
Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China is an example of a John Carpenter movie that is famous that you could show someone, and it doesn't necessarily.
No, there's nothing like it.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a treasure trove of reference of pseudo references to
watch
stuff
that right now.
Like it. Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China is pretty legit.
Watch that any time of day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not really a horror movie. It's
not,
more of an action movie.
Yeah.
Same with even Escape from New York.
Yeah, Escape from New York.
Prince of Darkness, I feel like is that's just a good movie to hang out with. It's super fun.
God, it's so good.
It's shockingly entertaining.
Yeah, it's one of the underrated. It has a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That makes no
which is that's
sense.
That's about what you want, though. There was
for sure, but that's a crime.
It does make sense. There was an era of time when no mainstream critic would dare be seen enjoying a lowbrow action movie in public, whereas now we've got this whole generation, this burgeoning swell of critics who are about my age now who loved that stuff. I remember Army of Darkness getting like half a star from the hoity-toity local Indianapolis Star movie critic, and just being derided as utter trash, and me and my big brother reading the review and being like, yeah, dude, we're gonna watch this, and we were just loving the fact that it was getting half a star, and we went to see it, and we were freaking out, and we were loving it, quoting that movie for years, right?
I mean, that's the David Lynch thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't David Lynch advertise like 2 thumbs down?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, of course. That's a great reason to get seen.
Nobody comes for David Lynch now. Everyone respects that dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of
For real.
Prince of Darkness and Big Trouble in Little China, it continues to be weird to me that Dennis Dunn didn't really have a career.
Interesting.
That dude was so cool, and I saw him in Big Trouble in Little China first, just like as a youth, watching it on the TV, because we had a channel called KOFY TV20 that would coffee after the like cable circuit or whatever movies would bleed down onto KOFY, and I watched Big Trouble in Little China there, and I saw it like 2 or 3 times and recorded it to VHS from there, and I was like, Dennis Dunn's the coolest man ever. Can't wait to watch more of his movies. And then like, he was in Prince of Darkness, or I forget if that was before or after. And then he was in the Warriors of Zoo or whatever, the one with the kangaroos. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know that one.
That TMNT Kangaroos movie. He was in that, and then that was it.
Hilarious. Then
he was gone from the universe.
Do you want to know what the Apple TV's list of related movies are for Prince of Darkness? You ready for this?
Yeah, sure.
Are you ready for a real hit parade here? The Hollow Man, Altered States, The Exorcist 3, In the Mouth of Madness, The Shining, Videodrome, The Omen, Evil Dead 2, John Carpenter's The Fog, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, which one? The original
one?
or
the original one?
Oh.
The original.
Oh, wow.
Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, no, it is the 70s one. Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And The Wicker Man and Event
Which one?
the original one, and
Yeah, I figured
Event Horizon. And Nicolas Cage, The Color Out of Space. Wait, it keeps going.
Honestly, just hit play and let it just
let all these roll. Yeah.
That's like a solid.
I'm gonna watch The Color Out of Space with a friend later.
I want to watch that.
I have some recommendations for everybody.
Wait,
at
Chris
this point.
Plante
Oh, wait.
didn't get to
Can
do
I
it.
just make one more quick recommendation? I've continued watching Star Trek Discovery, and I still love it. Every time I bring it up on this podcast or during a stream, I get like 8 guys going like, yeah, I hear you're watching Star Trek Discovery. You might want to stop, though, dude. And it's like, you might want to stop before it gets bad. And it's like, I still like it. I still think Michelle Yeoh's hilarious in it. She's never been quite so... She's very funny in this show. That's number 1. Number 2, nobody told me god darn David Cronenberg is a character in Star Trek Discovery. He plays a character who's like a version of himself. It's very incredible. I didn't know this. Nobody told me that.
I didn't know that either.
If you didn't know, David Cronenberg is an actor on Star Trek Discovery. It's later in the series, but I don't know, man. I'm still having a good time with that. It's a ridiculously stupid JRPG of a show. And nobody can also tell me I don't know anything about Star Trek because I've watched a lot of Star Trek Next Generation and original series at this point. So it's interesting as an alternate perspective. So, if you want to see David Cronenberg be weird and you want to see Michelle Yeoh be really weird, check that show out.
Just with Color Out of Space, which we've mentioned a couple times on here, let's just remember that Richard Stanley is unfortunately, it turns out, not very good. So let's not pay any money for it. And then the other thing is that Chris Plante needs to go and do recommendations.
Oh yeah, I mean, my recommendation thing, very simple. Boutique streaming services, everybody should try to use them.
Fandango.
Maybe even use them instead of other
Like
things.
which one? Which one you talking about? Which one you
like? I think everybody would be happier if they were using Shudder or Criterion Channel or Crunchyroll. I mean, some of these are large, but like I over the last year have largely changed my media diet to just that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing how you find yourself saying, oh, I really watched something cool last night versus like, ugh, I watched like the 8th episode of this thing that I'm not really enjoying.
You want to know what's real fun is getting off all the social media, getting yourself a Criterion Channel subscription, and instead of being on social media, have a buddy who has the Criterion Channel, and when they do their monthly playlist of stuff, just you text your buddy about how many of them vampire films you've seen yet. Oh, I'm on number 8. I'm on number 9.
Yeah.
That's a real good time. Just book club your way through Criterion's monthly playlists. Man, that is okay. So, did you just recently watch Prince of Darkness, Chris Plant?
Well, I mean, I've seen it a couple times, but yeah.
Yeah, but did you recently watch it again?
Now, the last time I watched it was, I don't know, probably about 6 months ago.
Oh,
but
okay.
now that it's on. So yeah, for what you're
It's on the 80s horror playlist in Criterion Collection.
Yes.
Is that where you watched Dead and Buried? Sorry to keep talking.
That's right. That is where I watched Dead and
Yeah, me
Buried,
too.
and for the first time.
Me too, dude.
Guys, I need to close this podcast. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
We
Please,
really
please,
need to
yeah,
go.
go,
I'm
go.
dying right now. All right. I'd like to say if you're listening to the show in some format where you can subscribe to a review podcast, please do that. It's always very appreciated. I read all the reviews and they really lift my spirits. You can go to patreon.com/insertcredit where you can become a patron to submit your own topics and listen to monthly bonus episodes. And tell you what, if you send me a receipt that you've upgraded or are a new donor on Twitter at Alex Jaffe, then maybe I'll read your dumb quote on a future episode. You can join our community at forums.insertcredit.com, where they're putting together some kind of Insert Credit Smash Brothers roster right now. You can follow us on Twitter at Insert Credit, search for Insert Credit on YouTube. You can wishlist Hyper, Gunsport, and Demon School on Steam by Necrosoft. Listen to Frank Cifaldi's podcast, The Video Game History Hour. This show is edited by Esper Quinn with original music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
I'm Chris Plant.
And is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow.
Is a man not?
Is that because you're under the blanket?
Yeah, that's because I'm under the blanket.
I'm gonna hit stop on recording so that you don't die.
Yes, thank you.